Okay, so we'll get started here. First things first, we'll get going with the bell ring. So describe, not that one. There it is. Describe how German citizens looked at Adolf Hitler for hope and a new start. What was so appealing about Hitler? There you go. Remember the simulation from Munchkinland? Why did we get a 9-3 vote yesterday for Arnold Higgins, who was, as we know, Hitler? So give you some time to complete that bell ringer. Just working on the bell ringer. All right, how about one more minute to finish up here? All righty, so let's go over this. So yesterday we went through that mock election simulation with Munchkin Land, and we had two men going at it for presidency, and it was supposed to resemble the presidency for Paul von Hindenburg and Adolf Hitler in 1933. And in our class, who won? Arnold Higgins, right? And who is he supposed to be? Go ahead, Jeffrey. Hitler, right? Good, good. So we talked about the Depression. We talked about how it was an alarming issue, maybe even more impacting of a depression in Germany than it was even in the United States. And it just kind of showed how political viewpoints like the Nazi Party was accepted during these times of turmoil and conflict and issues, right? Because a lot of people were losing respect and trust in the Weimar Republic. There is constant anarchy on the streets, right? There's constant chaos throughout many German cities because of who knows might happen if communism takes hold and extremist values taking hold in Germany. So we went over that election, and Adolf Hitler won the election in here. Again, you're not wrong for voting Higgins in. It was just to show how appealing Hitler actually was to the German people during that time and what he was promising, what he was trying to achieve with Germany moving forward. So again, don't feel bad for that simulation if you voted for Arnold Higgins here. But what was so appealing to the German citizens of Hitler? What was he promising? Jeffrey, go ahead.
They saw that he wanted to bring back the good old days when they were a national power, and they saw that he wanted to help them get out of the depression and change up the government from where they currently were with their current.
All right, good work, good work. Yeah. So he was promising a lot of nationalistic pride, bringing back German nationality. Okay, put Germany back at the top of the world stage. Okay, and he did that by trying to rebuild a military. Okay, try to bring back that national pride that they had so much before World War One. Okay, improve the economy by giving people jobs, focusing on eliminating that unemployment, the high rates of unemployment. Okay, and he pretty much was doing this just for, like, let's say Germany first, right? He wanted to make sure that Germany, maybe, they didn't really want to focus on the relationship with other countries, especially the ones that were establishing what the Treaty of Versailles was, what they set out with their regulations against Germany. So he didn't really want to make friends with other countries, right? He wanted to try to focus on Germany and make sure that they could improve their standard of living in Germany. Okay, bring back these nationalistic viewpoints and pride that was so lost during this time of depression at the end of World War One. All right, good, good. And we know with Paul von Hindenburg, he was an older man. He was respected by the German people. Okay, and he thought, well, we should try to keep our relationships with these countries and focus on paying back the Treaty of Versailles and adhering to it, and let the economy kind of work its way out of this mess, this problem, this depression. Okay. And who did the German people vote for? Who won this 1933 election? Who won it in actuality? I know we did a simulation in here, but who won it? Gracie, no? Yeah, good job. Paul von Hindenburg. He won. Okay, he won. But Hindenburg saw the support that Hitler had with the German people. And what did he appoint Hitler as? Chancellor. Good job. So Chancellor, like the Prime Minister in a way. So he would deal with the economy. He would deal mostly with foreign diplomacy. Okay, and this was a way to try to drive Germany together, right? Okay, because this election was pretty close, and he thought, well, if we bring this man on board, part of his leadership, then maybe we can unite Germany in the right direction. Okay, because he has a lot of support. So what happens to Hindenburg then? Jeffrey? He dies. Oh my gosh. Coincidence? I don't know. All right, I don't know. Just kidding. So Hitler comes into play as he decides, well, we need to try to focus our attention on finding this new leader, and that's him, right? And this the burning of the Reichstag was his ability to try to push for total supreme power in Germany. And he blamed it on the Jews. He blamed it on communists for the burning of this building, and he wanted to try to really claim full leadership authority over Germany. And what was his name then? What was his name? What did he call himself? Forney, remember? Mussolini was Il Duce. Hitler was, starts with an F. You need help? Griffin? The Fuhrer. Yeah, the Fuhrer. Good job, the Fuhrer. All right, that's where we left off, okay? So Hitler's taking charge in Germany. We talked about Mussolini in Italy, right? The rise of fascism. You guys remember talking about that? Black shirts, bring back national pride, bring back that Roman heritage, that Roman culture that we had. And then we just got done talking about Hitler, went over that simulation, how he's gaining support in Germany. Okay. Now we're going to focus on Stalin, USSR. Okay. Soviet Union. All right. So vocab terms for today. I'll zoom in a little bit more for you. So Bolshevik, the Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin, collectivization, there you go, and Gulag, the 5-year plan. There you go. So let you guys write that down, search the definitions for a little bit, and then we'll go over them. All right, so let's go over this real quick. Bolshevik, what do we have? Sounds like a curse word, right? Oh, stub your toe. Bolshevik, dog, darn it. I'm just kidding. What do you got, Griffin?
They were a radical far-left revolutionary faction founded by Vladimir Lenin.
Good job. So at the end of World War I, right, Russia was going through a lot of turmoil, a lot of problems, a lot of conflict. They weren't industrialized, okay, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. And the Bolsheviks were this working class, that they were this the far left that were trying to overthrow and topple the authority in Russia. Okay, and at that time it was Tsar Nicholas II. Okay, this king, he was like a king, and he was terrible to his own people. Okay, and we're going to talk about today how this transformed to something that maybe was even worse. Okay, Soviet Union. Soviet Union. Troy, what do you got for the Soviet Union?
Federal socialist state Eurasian that existed from 1922 to 1991.
Good job, good job. So the Soviet Union, right at the end of World War I, moving forward all the way up until 1991. Okay, and this would be a time period, pretty much the Cold War, right, for America and the Soviet Union. Okay, and the Soviet Union was pushing for communism. Okay, government control of business, everything, all aspects of life. Okay. All right, Joseph Stalin. What do you have? Joseph Stalin.
For the Soviet Union.
Yeah, leader of the Soviet Union. Good job. So we're going to talk about him a lot today and how he's going to try to advance the Soviet Union into an industrial economy, okay, to building up towards World War II and trying to compete with these other European powers that have been industrialized for a long period of time. Okay, and he does it in a very harsh way. Right? He almost forces it onto the Soviet Union, onto the people. Well, he does. Okay, he does. He doesn't just allow it to overcome and happen over a period of time like many other countries throughout the world. He forces it onto his people, forces it into his own country. All right, collectivization. What is that? Collectivization. Serene, what do you have for that?
Policy adopted by the Soviet Union to transform agricultural practices in the Soviet Union.
Yeah, good job, good job. So we're going to talk about it today. These people that once had private lands, farms. Okay, this would then be collected by the government. Okay, to produce food for the government purposes, mostly for the military. Okay, so this is the government control taking of the lands of the people to try to produce as much food as possible for the country as a whole, right? So no longer these independent farmers, no longer do they have that. It's now controlled by the government for the production, for a war effort, building up many of these urban areas. Gulag. There's a place in war zone when you get taken out, right? To get back in the game. The Gulag. I've yet to play it. How fun is it? Is it fun? Isn't it just like Fortnite, but Call of Duty version? Kinda. Yeah, that's what I thought. I gotta check it out sometime. What do you think, Serene? Isn't it free?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
You can squat up then.
What's that?
You can squat up then.
Squat up. Yeah. Sounds good. So what is the Gulag? What is it? Forney, what do you have?
It is a system of forced labor camps established during Stalin's
Good job. So these are the people that may have opposed him, Joseph Stalin, people that went against his authority, maybe had different viewpoints as him. If they weren't killed, they're sent to the Gulag, these work camps, labor camps, to try to build Russia, the Soviet Union, into this industrial power. You think they had food? No, they didn't. You think they had any type of warm shelter, running water, electricity? No. It was a terrible, terrible thing. And he did it to his own people. Crazy stuff, crazy. To people of another country either, but I'm just saying he did it to pretty much anybody that opposed him. 5-year plan. What do we have? Autumn, what do you have for the 5-year plan? Or didn't you get there yet? Still work. Okay. Gracie, go ahead.
5-year plan was used for the development of the national economy of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, good. Good job. Good job. So this was forced industrialization. Okay, forced advancement, modernization of the Soviet Union. So he thought, well, we'll just use 5 years focus on cultivating and producing a lot of crops and or agriculture. Same thing with industrialization, factories. He had a plan where many of these officials and people that had high ranking and educated people, they came together and thought, where can we build these industrial areas, these industrial cities in the Soviet Union? And you'll find it, they're all focused on the western part of the Soviet Union, well, now Russia. They're all focused right around here. Why? These large, innovative industrial cities, why are they located right in here? Go ahead, Griffin. Yeah, exactly, right? Where was industrialization really taking off? Europe. Okay, I know in World War I, they kind of were falling apart, but this was an idea, especially right at the end of World War I. Germany was down. Poland was just forming. A lot of these countries were just forming and becoming new countries, right? France, same thing. So this was his idea. Well, we can maybe force industrialization here in the western part of Russia, okay? And we can focus on maybe supplying these other countries, expanding our viewpoints of communism, right, to these other areas to maybe accept it over time, okay? Good job. Yeah, let's face it, out here, this is the Siberian Peninsula. Is there a lot going on there? No, it's just really a frozen wasteland. Okay, it was kind of wasted land in a way. There's some resources there, but not too much. So let's focus all of our attention, all our industrial power, trade, commerce on the western part of the Soviet Union where we can trade with these other countries, maybe inspire and spread communism. All right, is there any questions on that, guys? We good with that? Okay, moving on here. Real quick, I want to go over the rise of Stalin, Soviet Union, and I have a video for you. Kind of summing everything up. There it is. All right, so Soviet Union. So we know he's a communist leader, right? Okay, and with Stalin, we need to first start off with the ending of World War I. Why did Russia? Why did Russia leave World War I? Why did they say, you know what, this isn't for us anymore? Why did they leave? Why did they leave the war? Kind of where we need to start. Jeffrey, why did they leave? We just talked about this in American history.
They left because they didn't have anything to gain. They didn't have anything really. They didn't want to risk anything.
Okay. What was going on in Russia at the time, though, that really pushed them to pull out?
They were also having economic failure.
Okay, and a revolution, right? That Bolshevik revolution. Good. All right, so before World War I, Russia went through a stage where they were underdeveloped. They didn't have industrialization like these other countries in Europe, right? They're far, far behind. They're almost like the laughing stock of the rest of the world, especially Europe, because they're so close to them, right? And we saw a lot of advancements with the Industrial Revolution in Europe and even in America. Russia didn't even see that yet, okay? They didn't even see that. And they tried to go to war with some of these industrial powers to try to maybe get a step up at the international stage, at the international level. Right? They went to war with Japan. It was called the Russo-Japanese War in the early 1900s. What happened there, Forney? Do you remember? Did Russia win?
Yes. Or no.
No. Yeah, they lost. Okay. So Japan expanding out here, which we're going to talk about more tomorrow. So Japan was expanding out in the Pacific. They're becoming an industrial power and really the first Asian country to do so. So Russia kind of falling behind, not accepting industrialization. They're not really moving in the right direction. Tsar Nicholas II, make sure you remember him. He wasn't really pushing Russia in the right, I guess you'd say, direction, right? He wasn't treating his people in the right way. He wasn't supplying food for them. Again, industrialization really wasn't a thing. And they're kind of just there. They had a huge population. They had a lot of resources. They just didn't know how to use it, really. So to try to spur up nationalistic pride, he thought, well, let's maybe go to war with Japan. They're an Asian country. This is at the time of social Darwinism, right? This idea of, in a way, white supremacy in the late 1800s, early 1900s, where these Asian countries, they're less superior to especially these European countries, right? So they thought, well, they see them rising as power. This is a good way to step up that ladder. So they go to war with Japan, and they get totally humiliated. They have no ability to fight out in the open waters. Okay, they were going out with their navy made of wooden ships against Japan's ironclads. They had forms of dreadnoughts, right? They were far more advanced militarily, especially with their navy, than Russia. So Russia gets embarrassed, totally humiliated. Okay, totally humiliated. So what does the rest of the European countries think of Russia? Oh, they stink, right? They stink. There's no way they could advance. Okay, they're lower than dirt. Okay, it was just really hard to invade them. Why do you think? Why do you think Germany's like, maybe we shouldn't invade them. Maybe we should just wait a little bit. What do you think, Jeffrey?
They could not invade Russia because they were so big and they had a bunch of area to take over.
Okay, they had a bunch of area, weather, elements, right? Environment. Okay, it was very, very tough to invade through this area because it's the snow. It was very cold temperatures. And do they have any roadways? Do they have any railroads? No, they didn't. They weren't industrialized yet. So it's going to be hard to move troops, forces over through this land, this large area land, with all the environmental impacts. It's going to be very tough to do. So Russia is just kind of there, right? They really were trying to advance, but they just couldn't get it in the right direction. So at another attempt to try to spur nationalistic pride, World War I's just kicking off. Germany is this dominant power. They're taking it to Great Britain and France. Russia decides, well, maybe we can go to war. If we win, if we're on the victor's side, we're going to boost in nationalistic pride. Our people are going to love it. Maybe we can spur industrialization. Maybe we can move in the right direction. But after time, that didn't happen. Right? They were ill-equipped. They didn't have weaponry like Germany had, France, Great Britain, United States. They didn't have armaments. Why? Because they didn't have industrialization. They didn't have factories to produce these different types of armaments and supplies. Okay, they pretty much said, hey, you're in a regiment of like 100 people. We only have one rifle for you 100 people. Once that guy dies with the rifle, you pick it up, maybe find some shells that are laying around. Good luck. Right? That's pretty much how it went. Okay, that's pretty much how it went. So over time, Bolshevik revolution occurs. Okay, this Bolshevik revolution was really a far left movement to try to take down the Tsar and push him out of power. Okay, give it back to the people, right? The workers. And this is where we see the proletariat versus the bourgeoisie. You guys ever hear those two terms? I think you should have maybe in Mr. Shutt's World History. Proletariat, the working class individuals, the people that were going through a lot of hardships and problems. And then with the bourgeoisie was the business owners, the wealthy elite. Okay, and this is what takes over in the Soviet Union. This is what creates the Soviet Union. Okay, this communistic state. So Vladimir Lenin leads that. Okay, but he dies. He dies. So there's actually a power struggle between Stalin, this man here, and Trotsky. Okay, Trotsky was, in a way, radical. He wanted to try to expand communism, the socialist belief, to the rest of the world, rather than just focusing on the Soviet Union just yet. Okay, so Stalin exiles him. Okay, exiles him, takes him out. Okay, why? Because he opposed his political beliefs. Right, so Stalin's really the last man in charge here. And yeah, and interesting stuff. He's actually not from Russia. He's actually of Georgian descent. Okay, Georgian descent, which is right around in here. It's almost like in the Middle East in a way. So Trotsky gets sent actually to Mexico, and he gets assassinated. He gets killed. He gets exiled and assassinated, probably by Stalin. Stalin was probably up to it. So Stalin's first take, what do you think he wants to try to do? What was that plan to try to inspire industrialization? It was one of your vocab terms. Jeffrey? The 5-year plan. Good job. So he tries to modernize with these 5-year plans to try to push for modernization, push for industrialization. He knows there's only one way the Soviet Union can achieve success, achieve advancement, and that's through these 5-year plans. Hint, I said 5-year plans, not just one. It's never going to end, really. So he's going to try to take this underdeveloped country, the Soviet Union, into this industrial power. He's going to have the government take control of plans to create industrial cities, take the resources from the Soviet Union, especially down here towards the Middle East, okay, moving out and towards the eastern side of Russia, collecting these resources and bringing it back to the cities to make finalized goods out of it. Mostly focusing on what? What's he want to try to build up? There's a commonality amongst the men we just talked about and the industrial push. What are they trying to build up, Jeffrey?
They're trying to build up their national right by having theory that they once had.
All right, good, good. Actually trying to inspire a new modernized military, right? Good. So he focused all of his attention on creating jobs and industrial power towards creating this military, right? And collectivization was used. So collectivization, that other term that we talked about, the government seizing private lands for the production of crops and taking these lands and mining for resources like oil, coal, okay, resources to try to fuel their powerful military, okay, try to fuel a powerful military. So did it end after 5 years? So this is right around 1922, moving up to 1927. You think it ended? No, there's another 5-year plan after that. And then another 5-year plan after that. And then another 5-year plan after that until he eventually pretty much dies in 1953. So he's trying to really force industrialization on the people, forcing them into these gulags pretty much to create a more advanced modern Soviet Union. Okay. So like I said, all props to the government. Controlled every aspect of people's lives. So again, heavy government involvement into the people's lives. He's using the secret police as a way to try to control the people, using the military to force them to adhere to his advancements, his methods, his ideals. And if they don't, they're forced into the gulag, right? And he eliminated any type of opposition, any type of competition against him. This is called the Great Purge. The Great Purge. I'm sure you guys heard of the movie The Purge. I think they made a show off of it, right? But this is a way to try to take out any opposition to him, any type of pushback against his beliefs. But he believed that this was the only way to try to bring an industrialized, modern military to the Soviet Union. The government just taking control of it, forcing out any type of opposition, pushing for industrial gains and strides with these 5-year plans. Okay, with the gulags, the labor camps, you don't have to pay these people. They're pretty much working until they die to interconnect all these cities, all these areas throughout Russia, Soviet Union, right? With railroad tracks, roads, bridges. Okay. The best way to mobilize a country, an army, is using the railroads, using roadways. That's the way he tried to establish his presence there in the Soviet Union, through fear, the use of propaganda, media, right? See a commonality amongst all these leaders we talked about. Advancements in military, okay, building up the military, industrialization, modernization, nationalistic pride, okay, not really focusing on foreign diplomacy, focusing inward on yourself. Total control of all aspects of life with the military towards his use, secret police, right, his authority. All right, is there any questions on that? So we good with collectivization. We know what that is. We talked about the 5-year plans, how the Soviet Union is forcing it into the country to try to advance. The Great Purge, right? Anybody that opposed him, forced in the gulags, forced in these labor camps to work to try to strive to make a better Soviet Union. The use of the media, propaganda, the military, to focus attention on building the stronger Soviet Union. All right, you guys good? All right, cool. All right, so again, we'll talk about Japan tomorrow, and those are pretty much all the powers that I wanted to go over, and they're coming into really a international power. All right, real quick, I'll share this video with you.